it's a pretty big setback with the synergy out of both of the teams. And I feel like that's more of a compliment to Fnatic, just based on the fact that they're playing with a sub and that they're still playing with equal misplay around the Tyrael that we see out of Tempo Storm, the #1 seed in NA.
Though it is a sub that they were practicing with during the scrims before, so it's not like they have never played with Sonic before too.
And the dude's a monster, like
yeah,
he's
for
insane.
sure.
Yeah, he's playing so well this tournament, and I feel like something I want to highlight is I feel like in this series, Genji is so highly prioritized and well played by both sides. You know, Psalm played it in that last game and he got a lot of value. Like, I kept seeing make these really value E's where as soon as his Blaze would stun the opponent's tanks, he instantly was Eing on demand. I saw it 3 or 4 times. That's just really smart game sense coming out by Psalm. And I feel like, you know, on the flip side, Sonic was playing so well the game before on Genji.
And another thing that I feel like we saw out of the last game that for the first time in this tournament at least is when Glaurung gets to Blaze, honestly, he looks a little uncomfortable at certain moments. Definitely didn't have any major misplays, but you can see the kind of decision-making within the lanes that he definitely was not as comfortable with some of his other heroes. So I wonder if that is something that Fnatic is looking to aim for in this game as well. Maiev is going to be taken off the table. Malfurion first pick. Jinx.
Oh me a Dr. Pepper.
Oh man.
Oh man. All right, Malfurion in, Maiev not being played, and Genji also, you pointed out him being pretty active in this series. He hasn't won yet either, but we won't be seeing him on this battleground. And Blaze getting picked up with an Uther follow-up from Fnatic.
Do we see the Tracer? That's what I really want to know. Is Tempo confident enough in their Malf Tracer duo to whip it out right here? Last time when they had it, they had the Maiev as well, which I mean, they had a lot of really strong heroes. I mean, personally, like I kind of indifferent, and if we see it, I think it's good. It just is so much about confidence, right? If this was Dignitas, Tracer would have already been locked and we would have been going to the next bans, right? So like, is Tempo comfortable enough in their own Tracer play as a team where they just want to whip it out here? I do like the fact that Fnatic picked up the Uther. I know it is pretty early, but it is pretty good counter into the Tracer. So this is kind of like, okay, if you're going to pick Tracer, we already have the Uther.
Another thing I like about the Uther in this situation is because Volskaya Foundry is so concerned around that first Shrine and there's so much focus into that now, Uther, because of his armor, has some of the most effective HP and healing generation in the early stages of the game without having heroics. Not only into burst in general, but just, I mean, overall, he stands out into the early stages of the game. And so it's catering to that mentality of, you know, we can win the early game and then we can get the snowball later on.
Glaurung gets back on the Malthael. We'll get an Arthas as well. I think Arthas is actually very powerful on this battleground. In general, I think he's being a little underplayed throughout the entire weekend, but him on this battleground, typically when you're having those fights in the early game, his 1 through 4, very, very powerful. Being able to set up and hold a foundation and of course heal yourself and not rely on your healer as much. Strong pickup for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Arthas being underplayed, I just was thinking about how much warrior diversity we've had in this tournament. I mean, Anubrax's seen play, Gara's seen play, Diablo, Tyrael, Blaze are obviously like S tier, and then you have Murden and ETC as well. I think that's just cool. I feel like a lot of international turns you come into, okay, which CC tank are we picking, right? Anubrax, ETC, or Murden, and in this tournament, there are so many different tanks being picked up. You know, it's just a brush of feather.
It's also nice when you have double tank in the compositions as well, being able to fan out a little bit more. Gonna have the Medivh banned out. Fnatic taking away the option for Tempo Storm to force fights on the back line.
Yeah, with the Arthas, having a Medivh is really nice to try to get him into a better position. Even Malthael too, although he can Wraith Strike in. And if there's any concern at all, and Tempo Storm does play Medivh, I can understand wanting to ban out that hero versus any NA team, really.
It's also a trend, I can't remember if this series or another one with Tempo Storm, but with the Malthael we saw a response towards the Medivh. There's a lot of focus, it seems like, when we see that Malthael out of North America. Jaina is being hovered, but Tempo Storm seems to be going a little bit different direction with the Tychus, maybe fear of too much pressure onto that Arthas.
So if they do let the Jaina through, I do think Jaina is really strong on this map, and in a similar fashion to Junkrat, right? Where Jaina is able to clear waves and then rotate to the fight. So generally the way this map goes, right? So you have the first objective in the middle. So generally you have one hero that's gonna be rotating mid-top for both team, clearing the waves, right? So generally you'll 5-man clear mid, and then you have one hero peel off the top and one hero peel off the bottom. So for the side of Tempo Storm, Malthael will 100% be one of the heroes that peels off, and generally they'll pick up something like a Junkrat, a Falstad, a Jaina that has decent enough wave clear. You can rotate up there, catch the wave, and then you collapse again as 5. So a lot of this map comes down to rotations and who has the better, you know, solo person wave clear. That's why Junkrat, you know, in the last series was prioritized so high on this map, is because it allows you to get that brief 5v4 where you can look for a pick.
If we don't see that direction, like let's say we avoid the Junkrat, right? We talked about Jaina, a Hanzo instead, and then the Tyrael picked up. Makes, oh man, I feel like the Tyrael pickup in this type of situation, they do have the double invuln, and there's not too many major cooldown. I don't know, actually, I say that, and double invuln generally takes a lot of synergy as a team. Both of those are going to be very difficult to not stack, so I lied. This is one of those, again, cases where is the default kit going to be strong enough? I think that Blaze does a pretty good job of making up for that. Hanzo in kind of in the middle area as well. It's just whatever that last pick is and the commitment to that double invuln, like how do they work well with the heroics and not stagger them?
I do like the Hanzo coming out, although we haven't seen much Hanzo from Fnatic during the HGC League. Hanzo on this battleground, I feel like is a little undervalued with the poke that he brings around the control point. Great, scatter arrows coming in, dropping in your Stormbow whenever you get the situation going towards you. It's just a matter of what build's going to be coming out for them. Are they going to go for the auto attack build, or will we stay with the Stormbow build that's been pretty popular this tournament?
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh, there it is.
Man.
So who is going to be playing what then? Is that, I feel like it has to be a Glau Zeratul, right? I know
Yeah.
Fan will be on
Yes.
the Junkrat. Okay, so it will be the Glau Zeratul and will be Psalm playing that Malthael. So I would really expect to see coming out of Fnatic probably a Jaina here. Jaina is a pretty good hero into Zeratul as far as, you know, backliners go, where she does get that ice block later on, and she is able to do the rotation that I was mentioning before, where she'll be able to rotate mid-top, though it will be scary because she will be playing against that Zeratul.
Ice block being a tool that you can use there. Uther also did help out. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Is there anyone else that pops up for you, Dread?
Off the top of my head, not really. I'm sorry, I'm spending a lot of time trying to consider if that Zeratul pickup here is a response to the Tyrael in North America busting out. If that maybe adds too much of their synergy dependent with their heroics into that of the Tyrael. And wow, EU is going to be bringing the Thrall.
So I think Thrall is incredibly powerful in this battleground. We got a little bit from HHG being able to move into Crash Lightning. I just didn't expect Fnatic to be the one to pull it out. And that excites me actually a little bit here. He's very, very strong here. I feel super underrated. We got a lot of him from Arthalon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he is pretty underrated. This is a case where we don't see it paired with the Gul'dan, which is every other case we've seen the Earthquake into the Horrify play. I can't help but wonder, is it still going to be the Earthquake here versus the Sunder? Because there is an argument of Dragon Arrow is very well prepped with the Sunder split of the seas. But overall, I think that I like the fact that at least it's not a hero that he's a hero that provides enough kill potential. He's got a lot of things with the double invulnerability to be able to get a lot of pressure out, and that you aren't going to see a situation to where I don't feel like it suffers from that same problem with those heroes because he can put out so much consistent damage.
And he gets the same through his Zeratul jumping on top of him as well. He's able to handle a Zeratul on the back line.
All right, guys, let's do it. What do you think?
Man, I want to say NA, but I'm going to have to go with Fnatic. I really like that Thrall pick. I feel like it really complements their draft, as well as it's really safe in his Zeratul. It's going to be very hard for Tempo to be able to kill him.
Trick, who do you think's going to take it?
I believe in Green Jesus. Every day I pray to him, and I believe that he'll win.
Is that Shrek? Sorry.
It's Rhaegar, hello.
Yes, it is definitely Shrek.
I think I feel a little bit differently, and a lot of it's going to rely on the Tyrael pickup and the synergy required for Fnatic, so I'm actually voting Tempo Storm.
Yeah, that scares me a little bit too, but knowing that it's Breeze and Smexy who have to have that kind of synergy, maybe that'll be enough for Fnatic. I'm just voting for Game 5, so for me, it's Fnatic all the way. But more importantly than our predictions, what are you guys predicting? That is the main question, and it's also Fnatic.
They believe in Thrall too.
Yeah, the last game was enough, and the Thrall pick too. Back over to Vandy and Kaldor for Game 4 between Fnatic and Tempo Storm.
Fnatic is on the scoreboard. They have taken one map. They're still down in the series, though. A 2-1 lead for Tempo Storm. Is Thrall going to be enough to change the tide?
I don't know. I was getting a bit weirded out about their draft, but you're saying no. This is a very, very good draft. I don't know. You're saying I don't know how I feel about the Hanzo, but I'm ready to be proven wrong. I would love a Game 5 as well. Let's see what Fnatic have got. They're feeling very strong now.
Yeah, and to the left side of the map, we have the blue team starting off. It is Tempo Storm in the lead with currently Glorang on Zeratul, Psalm on Malthael, Cattle on Arthas, June on Malfurion, and Fan on Junkrat.
And rocking the red, we have Team Fnatic with Smexy playing Uther, Sonic on Thrall, Mene on Hanzo, Benny on Blaze, and Breeze on Tyrael. Listen to that crowd, Kaldor. You can tell that everyone wants to support the European team.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to quickly distract here. Battle Beast on Thrall, I mean, sorry dude, but that's a no-go. We all know that the Money Pig is the best mount in the game, but I would have accepted anything else but the Battle Beast.
You were definitely arguing with me about how the pig is the best.
He is, like, Sonic is fantastic, but he is disappointing me there. His fashion sense is something that I have to question at this point.
Maybe he's redeemed himself because he has gone that Crash Lightning Thrall that we've been hearing a lot about and seen good results so far.
Yeah, definitely, and we have seen some insane damage output in the later stages. It's all about getting those 20 stacks at the beginning where you want to make sure that you complete the quest, and that makes it so much easier to stack even more afterwards. He's currently sitting at 2, so we're going to keep our eyes on that, and we have target practice as the level 1 talent on main, as of course also our panel was thinking about the build that we would see here on the side of Hanzo, and it is the Stormbow focus.
Yeah, this really aligns with a lot of what the pros were telling us as well in terms of the viable build for Hanzo now after the next round of nerfs that he has received. So definitely keeping in line with that. Want to see how much value he can get out of it. Like, he's got a lot of tools to be able to keep this Hanzo alive. We just want to be able to see him do, I guess, just Hanzo things. And what does that mean? The poke and that burst potential that he can offer.
We also have a few adjustments, not only on the side of Fnatic, but also when we're talking about Tempo Storm, especially looking towards Malfurion. Shando's Clarity has been chosen as the level 1 talent for June, whereas normally we are seeing Nature's Swiftness taken, so the additional movement speed that allows him to stay a bit safer and also just get away from these situations. But it's all about the cooldown recharging here, and affected, of course, by the regrowth. Shando's Clarity, a slight adjustment that we have from Malfurion. And yeah, I'm hyped for this one. This is the chance for Fnatic to tie the series, force a 5th map, but if Tempo Storm takes it, then of course they will advance to the winner bracket final.
And I guess also worth noting is that the Maev was once again taken away.
Yeah.
So they're saying to Tempo Storm, show us that you can beat us without this hero. And then that puts pressure on Tempo Storm in a way as well. It was a very close game, but I guess what happened last game is that we saw a couple of questionable decisions coming out of Tempo Storm. We said that they had so much boss control, but yet we never really got to see a chance for them to use it.
Yeah, and exactly, the one boss fight that we saw at the beginning is something that Fnatic didn't contest because they were down the Storm talent. And the second boss fight, Fnatic handily won because they blew up Tyrael before he could use Sang. Gas was never an issue in that fight either, so it was Fnatic with fantastic play. And as you said, Tempo Storm couldn't use the strength of their composition. They're going to try and do that, of course, in this game. But all right, now also, again, some talent adjustments. We've been talking a lot about Blaze. And especially about Tempo Storm, we've been mentioning how on level 4 they went into the oil dispersal, trying to control the area by the increased oil spill area. But we have Adhesive Petroleum, which is definitely the talent to go on for level 4 when it comes to the European style. So the clash of the metas and also the clash of the builds already here in this 4th game.
And that's what we love to see. By showing us, I guess, the differences between the meta, we want to see whose meta is going to triumph. And that's a lot of what, I guess, the teams were saying. They were saying, you know, it's going to be NA meta versus EU meta. Neither team really wanting to change it up too much.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of NA Lul versus EU Lul this weekend so far, and we are not done yet. We currently have the first objective on the map, and the point is contested here. Tempo Storm has taken the lead with 35%, but Fnatic definitely ready to fight for it now.
Fnatic have all grouped around this point now, so it has gone on to contested. Meanwhile, though, you can see Malthael, Sam in that top lane, soaking up that experience while this fight is going on. Now they have 5 members on the side of Fnatic. They'd be looking to push a little bit more aggressively in this slight window while Sam is rotating down.
The Fnatic wants, of course, look how well we are currently seeing Tempo Storm spreading here. And one of the reasons is that it makes it very difficult for Thrall to stack the Crash Lightning. Sonic is sitting only at 4 stacks, and considering how many he had before this objective spawn, that's pretty impressive. So Tempo Storm with very good positioning here, just simply saying, listen, we know what you want to do. We're not just going to stack up and give you all of that for free.
They know how to play around it. And Fan, meanwhile, is just laying down that long-range poke, but not over-committing to the point where Fnatic feel confident to try and collapse on him. Now the point has flipped over onto Fnatic's control. It is constantly ticking up now, sitting at 30%.
Junkrat also being a nuisance, Fan the entire time, firing from the back line. Once again, the lightning stacks are coming in, sitting at 6 right now, and it is a poke battle for sure.
It is indeed. Like, you can see both teams just utilizing the poke to the best of their advantage. Mene on that Hanzo, though, my eyes are going to be on him. Once that quest is complete,
Top lane pushed out on the other hand, and that's the problem because Malthael has made sure that Tempo Storm is taking a lead in experience, and that is of course an advantage for them. Fnatic gave up a wave up at the top, and now we see Tempo Storm as 5 moving onto the point and trying to be aggressive. Good jumps into the back line by Glorang as well, trying to get the damage with Zeratul. Nice trap usage, Smexy in trouble, and Uther is down.
and as soon as Uther is down, you can see the guys that were low pull back a little bit, not really allowing Fnatic to position in and utilize that heal that Uther gives you even in death. So really nice stuff by Tempo Storm, just showing so much restraint.
Fnatic can still fight for this though. Tempo Storm is taking the lead in experience, but Fnatic can wait for Uther to come back and then try and re-engage. With Mena eating a lot more damage now and having to back, it becomes more difficult. So they need to be very careful with this one. Now we know that the objective is so much stronger now, and that is something you have to respect. You can't give up too many of these protectors if you want to stay ahead in the game or not fall too far behind.
Well, Fnatic as well, they did such a good job. They've got that point on 99%. It really will just take one kill to just bully them off and secure that objective. But you can see Tempo Storm, they're not giving this one out. It's gone down to the overtime now.
Benny already there, and they get the kill. Malthael is down, deleted. Rips on as he goes down and has absolutely zero chance of sustaining himself. Fnatic is taking the point again and about to bully Tempo Storm off it with just half a level away from 10. Tempo Storm doesn't want to give it up, but they're struggling here. And another Wolf connects as Cattle is forced off, and Fnatic is about to claim the Protector.
Heal connection with Breeze, keeping him out of harm's reach. And now Fnatic get the first Protector of the game.
It was actually a really important one for them to grab, because the nightmare for Fnatic would have been Tempo Storm with the objective and level 10. Facing that when you don't have access to your own heroics, that would be a disaster.
Sam!
Deleted.
Come on, Sam, no!
Sam just came back, and apparently it was warm and cozy in the Nexus, whereas here in Poland it's very cold right now that he wanted to go back again.
Oh dear, just that positioning of himself, just the minigun can shred, especially when you let all the rounds connect. And I guess he just maybe was not anticipating, or perhaps just trying to communicate with his team. Just got taken out for free, essentially there. What that now does is create so much more space in the top lane for Fnatic to push in with.
And Fnatic has taken the lead here, but Glorang with the Void Prison and the engage already, the Earthquake being used by Sonic. Malfurion is dead. Fnatic is on a tear right now, going in and getting kill after kill. 3 versus 1, and Sonic, like a beast, is just stacking on the Crash Lightning here, sitting at 14 stacks, 7.5 minutes in.
I see what you did with his name there. You thought I might not see, but I do. And that 50% Protector finally now going out. There is a kill as well that happens in the bottom lane with the Junkrat taking out the Blaze.
Blaze falling here, and right now that is a kill that was desperately needed by Tempo Storm. So Fnatic really makes it work with the first objective. Tempo Storm was ahead in experience, but Fnatic is able to take down the fort at the top lane, creating some space and making it much more difficult for Tempo Storm to later on fight for another objective, for the next Protector if it happens to spawn up at the top. Fnatic also still stacking, and we know that when you play Thrall, you want to reach that late game where you can really dish out the damage. And to be honest, as we see a pause coming in here, this is not the only thing that they have to be concerned about, because Cattle has already stacked nearly everything on his Arthas. He's completed the level 1 Talon, Frost Presence, and he's on 140 out of 150 stacks on the Frozen Wastes. So he's doing pretty well when it comes to getting all of that in through the team fighting.
You know who else is doing pretty well? Mene with that 6-minute stack on target practice. I think that's almost one of the fastest times I've ever seen in terms of getting that. And a lot of that was just because so much bullying was happening in that front with that front pressure created by the tanks that he was allowed to just sit back, stormbow everybody, fulfill that quest, and net the rewards.
And it's also reflected in the damage output. Mena is sitting at 21,000 damage. Junkrat has 20k. Those two are the top damage dealers for each team. And that could change later on, of course, as Sonic starts to get his stacks in. We've been talking about how important it is for him to complete his level 1 Crash Lightning. Once the reward hits and heroes are prioritized by the jumps, it's so much easier to stack it as well. So this is definitely one thing we're going to keep an eye out and keep you guys updated. The game is starting up again, and at this point it's all about the healing here. So they're trying to go for the healing items at this point, but already Fnatic scouting it out, and that forces Tempo Storm back.
Tempo Storm looking to get level 13 first, or try and see. But Fnatic not too far behind. So there's not really going to be that talent level advantage that we've been seeing in the other games. Both teams are keeping up quite well, even though Tempo Storm lost that first objective.
Yeah, there are definitely two things I feel to watch out for in particular, and that is Zeratul, for example. Glorang is going to try and get these kills against Hanzo, or against any kind of backline that he is going to have a clear line to. And we have to watch out for Sonic in the later stages of the game. Right now, he's not as much of a threat, can still be scary, but it's the late game damage that really matters. But both of them are very close in experience, and that is There's a play that Fnatic, as you just said, hasn't experienced for quite some time in the series.
Not yet, but Fnatic, they're feeling strong now. They've worked out, I guess, a lot of Tempo Storm. I guess the success that they were having was really with that Maeve, just making the fight so close and that blow-up potential that she offered. I mean, with these picks now, it's more of that traditional sort of draft that we see coming out of Tempo Storm. They've gone back to some comfort picks as well, showing that I guess they are feeling quite pressured.
Yeah, and also with the pressure coming in, we've seen how difficult it was for Psalm in particular to keep himself alive in these two quick fights that we had. So he needs to respect that on his Malthael right now, especially since he doesn't have an Uther behind him. If you have Uther with a Divine Shield or Burst Heals, then it's so much easier for Malthael to go deep in these fights, push the opponent back, and that allows, of course, your backline also to get safe damage out. But he just doesn't have that opportunity now. We see June on Malfurion, and that is just one of those plays where you have to play it a little bit differently and a little more cautious.
It is, and I guess with Malthael's new playstyle, he gets a lot of his healing back now from hitting heroes as opposed to the minion wave. And that's, I guess, creating that risky situation because he needs to be able to hit those heroes, but we can see anytime that he gets close, he's just getting bullied.
Sonic, once again, just waiting for another potential stack, but Cattle keeps himself at the front. Good Howling Blast also coming through Arthur's. Glorang with a poke again, and Sonic working on his stack, sitting at 16, 4 away from completing the quest.
With that quest being completed as well, it's going to be another power spike happening. With both teams now, we do have the next point available for capture.
Glorang gets hit by the wolf here, but no follow-up damage. But we can now see the situation that I explained a little bit earlier is now happening. We have the point up at the top, and that means that with the fort gone on Tempo Storm's side, they don't have a fallback option. They can't reset the fight. They cannot just simply say, okay, boys, let's move back, go to the fountain, heal up, and then re-engage, whereas Fnatic has that option still available to them. So a highly favorable position for Fnatic in this situation.
Fnatic love thinking about, I guess, the next step, and that's why they prioritize that top fort for exactly those reasons that you outlined. And that's really just having that foresight to be like, where's the next objective going to be? Because on this map, it's set.
Yeah, it's all about, at this point, it's really all about them trying to win that sustained fight that they can here. But they let Tempo Storm get away with a very big lead here, already sitting at 60%, and this is when Fnatic is starting to move in. Look at Sam on half HP, and that's the problem. He can't simply move back. He needs to wait for June to heal him up again, and that's what they're currently trying to do here, as Fnatic is about to take control. Both teams are not on 16 yet, but Tempo Storm is looking for an opportunity to maybe engage and take a target down.
2 turrets also still available. Sorry, 1 now, with 1 being deployed on the side of Fnatic, also adding to the damage that they can get. 99% now being captured on the side of Tempo Storm, and they managed to delay enough.
But Fnatic has now taken the position. They waited for a long time, but they finally took it. And Tempo Storm just realizes, guys, there's very little that we can do right now. We can't just simply move in. We don't have that fountain, so let's give it up, at least for now. And Glorang is taking damage as well. And it's all that poke. The entire time, one lightning after another is coming through. And as Tempo Storm does a fantastic job to spread out and make sure that the damage that we see from Sonic's Thrall is limited, there's still some coming through, and then you have Nena with the scatter arrows and the Stormbow on top of it as well. So the poke is just too much for Tempo Storm to win a long, sustainable fight.
Yeah, that poke is really hurting them a lot, and that's that Hanzo power coming in, showing why he was just a dominating pick for so long. Cattle now opening up with Army of the Dead, charging on in.
This is the fight that they want. They're finally trying to pull the trigger here. Sam is already low. He needs to be careful. He needs to be really careful as he's just being hit over and over again. The bunker's already on the ground, but Tempo Storm is taking level 16, and that advantage is something they try to catapult into a protector here. Fnatic has won so many fights, being at a talent disadvantage, but can they do it once again? They're definitely fighting their heart out here. Both teams are 99%. Cattle is low, has already used his army, and we have Malthael jumping into the backline. Benny up at the front, healing himself up still, and Fnatic is pushing Tempo Storm away. Sanctification, Earthquake being used, but at the same time, the perfect Void Prison is that the needed. Glorang with the play, and he takes down, with the help of Junkrat, not only Thrall, but we see himself fall as well as the Protector is taken, and Fnatic is moving in again.
The Protector coming in to smash Glorang. They said, oh my god, well, you've got to kill. Have you met our Rock'em Sock'em robot? It's now stomping into the core. It's nice and healthy, and now I'm really starting to worry on the side of Tempo Storm. They do have 16, but they are down Glorang for the moment. It's still an equal trade, however.
To be honest with you, if Glorang didn't use that perfect Void Prison, Tempo Storm would have been more or less wiped. Sanctification on the ground, and then also Sonic immediately ready with the Earthquake. That would have been a disaster, but that Void Prison allowed them to get a kill, and also walk out with the 4 remaining members.
Glaurung pretty much just, as you said, he was just such a pivotal force in why they managed to walk away with just that one loss. And the fact is as well, it just could have been so much worse.
Yeah, exactly. So that was great heads-up play by him. Protector afterwards taking him down. And talking about taking things down, the fort in the mid lane is eliminated. And with another 20 seconds left on the Protector, we're seeing it starting to march down to the bot lane, trying to at least get a bit of extra damage onto the fort at the bot lane, which is the last remaining one here for Tempo Storm. And they lost another fountain.
Yeah, and with this bottom fort now falling, that would just give them so much more map vision advantage on the side of Fnatic. So you really want to be able to hold on to it at least as long as you can. Fnatic still very healthy, looking to push down and take this fort, see if they can force another fight. They know that Junkrat is not with them.
And at this point, it's easier for Thrall to get those stacks together, and that's exactly what he does here. So he's still going 23 stacks at this point. But the problem that we saw at the top lane is again coming in for Tempo Storm. They lost 2 forts and they lost all 3 of their fountains. So once again, when we see the next objective spawn, Fnatic will have an advantageous position unless Tempo Storm can win a fight until then and try and push through.
Tempo Storm, I mean, okay, best case scenario now, they've seen the plays that they can make with a perfectly timed Void Prism. And I mean, that kind of just gone down. The fight also occurred on that point, off the point, and that's kind of what then allowed Fnatic to get that last percentage to get the Protector, and then that made things quite messy.
Yeah, that's definitely true, but when we're talking about Tempo Storm and the engagements they have, I still have to point something out here, because it's a point where Fnatic has to be afraid. Tempo Storm has lost 2 forts, a lot of structures, and they still are on nearly the exact same experience that we're seeing for Fnatic, and that is very impressive. So from that perspective, they've done way better when it comes to soaking XP. And if you just think that through for a moment, Tempo Storm, once they start winning a Protector, they can start taking down structures. And once that happens, they will take a massive amount of experience that should snowball them very quickly to level 20. So that is one of those few things that Fnatic needs to be aware of. They're doing well, but they have missed a lot of lane experience that Tempo Storm soaked.
I absolutely love that point that you bring up, and I mean, I'm just bringing up the numbers now. We've got almost 13k soaked by just Glaurung and Psalm themselves, and that is mammoth amounts of XP. And like you were saying, there's just so much untapped structure experience that they can get, but they need to win that objective. Fnatic probably know that as well, and hence why they're fighting so hard to make sure that Tempo Storm do not get a Protector.
Breeze is also very careful here, because it's exactly for that reason that Tempo Storm is looking for that kill. And they see Breeze there, and you could tell there were pings immediately. Once they see him, the lockdown happens. We see also Glaurung moving in, trying to see if maybe with Zeratul he can force something. But Fnatic is now closing in on 20, and we have the objective already called down to the bot lane, so very soon we're going to see that spawn up. And once that happens, it could be spelling trouble for Tempo Storm, as they don't have that fallback option available.
Both teams just wanting to unlock that level 20 before that objective. Now it is counting down. We have less than 25 seconds to go till it goes live. However, this objective is quite good in that you've got that percentile base ticking. Bad Benny, he looks like he wants to make a play around the support camp, but his team is just not yet there, and they're saying, wait, back away. We don't want you to get caught out.
Yeah, getting the healing pulse would have been fantastic here, and with the early level 20, Fnatic is trying to force that now. And there's very little that speaks against them taking it. They have everyone here, they have the Storm talent advantage, and Tempo Storm would be ill-advised to try and make a play for it. So they get the healing pulse. That's another big advantage they are going to have for that fight at the bot lane, because Tempo Storm will also hit level 20 by the time that we see the teams arriving down there.
So then what changes, it's that healing pulse that they got to give them that extra burst of sustain in those fights, and that can be make or break. It is a very, very strong thing to have going into a fight.
And the Fountain, of course, itself, so really big tools available now for Fnatic. And this is something that Tempo Storm is very unlikely to give up. They can't afford to do it, because it could mean keep, and that's a massive problem for Tempo Storm. So they're going to try and fight here. But especially Mena has been a beast with the damage output. He's sitting at 45,000 damage on Hanzo. Hasn't died once yet, and they are going to start with a poke here. And Tempo Storm has to find an angle.
Tempo Storm looking, just seeing if they can start with the poke. As you said, not wanting to overcommit because they know what is at stake here.
Mena so far in the background here. They're trying to keep tabs on Zeratul in particular, trying to keep vision. Benny moving back for now. They know that they can tap. Breeze is the one that has to go to the fountain. So they're giving it up for a second. They give it over to Tempo Storm. They have 63% already, but now they can engage. And the 2 tanks are immediately pushing Tempo Storm back.
look at the positioning of both teams as well. We saw that earlier in the fight up ahead. Now, though, what we do see, Tempo Storm, they managed to take the control point under their control for now. Benny just hovering around. It's just Benny and Cattle just going on in. Neither team wanting to commit onto these tanks because it's going to pull the rest of the members on the outskirts in.
Main has been the priority target the entire time for Zeratul, is moving behind the towers now, trying to make sure that Glorang cannot engage. Arrow comes in, and it connects with Malfurion, but the Void Prism is already being used as we're seeing the Tormented Souls pop. Cattle is moving in as well, and the fight is finally starting up. The kill immediately against Hanzo, no chance for him, even with Thrall going for the Earthquake. Smexy about to die, he's the first one who wants to go down. He gets the extra heals in, but is it gonna be enough? Sonic is still following Junkrat, trying to get a counter kill here, and Fan is in trouble. The kill comes through, but Glorang goes in, and they get the counter kill. 1-2 down, Tyrell and Thrall evaporating, and now we have potentially, with the explosion of Tyrell, another kill here, but it doesn't look good for Fnatic as Blaze is struggling. Heal after heal coming through by Uther, but it's just not enough. A full team wipe, a 5 versus 2 as Tempo Storm takes control.
Caldo, this is what you were saying. This is what Tempo Storm were hoping for. They've got so much structural experience that's going to start coming their way, and the death time is to work with. I'm scared now for Fnatic because it's really going to bolster the attack that's coming their way. They did manage to get those kills onto Jun, onto the Junkrat as well, onto Fan. We could just see the positioning as well. It was just that's such a good team fight by Tempo Storm.
The big problem for Fnatic was the insta-kill against Hanzo. Hanzo immediately died after the Void Prison. This is exactly what can't happen. And one of the biggest problems is that Hanzo used play of the game. Mene jumped in, he used his level 20. And that was a massive issue because that allowed him to be caught out at the front in the first place. And Glorang really with that play here. Now, in Fnatic's favor works that they still hold on to the level 20 talent. So Tempo Storm, they will take a lead here, but they can't get the talent advantage. And that is big for Fnatic. But Mene has to be a bit more cautious when he engages. They need to keep closer tabs on Glorang, and that was a big, big problem. Him blowing up in that fight before anything else happened, that won Tempo Storm the battle.
And then that Void Prism as well to just lock them up. It shows why Glorang, he's so feared on this hero in particular.
Yeah, once again, Glorang being attacked here. They're trying to go for him, but Breeze is also a little bit low. Has sanctification still up. They're trying to fight for it. Glorang with the Void Prison barely escaping. Very close call here. The Protector is still there. Sonic, the Divine Shield is out, helping him out. And Fnatic holding for now, still onto the keep. They should lose it, but it's still very impressive that they were able to defend so well until now, because this could have been a core attempt by Tempo Storm.
Yeah, they sunk so much into trying to get Glorang, seeing if they could get the surprise blow up on him, but he managed to blink out at the last second.
I mean, are you kidding me? They're holding on to their keep. It's 22 minutes in, that Protector scaled like a beast, and they still hold on to the keep until now. Can they really hold that? The near kill against Benny, it might slap, and no it doesn't. Glorang doesn't get it. The shields of Breeze out, but another attempt by Tempo Storm to drop the keep, and they do not get it. Can Fan maybe poke it down from a distance with Junkrat?
They're showing that he's back, Glorang. He shows how much pressure he can create. As soon as he's back, Fnatic, they do withdraw. But as you said, they're holding on to the keep. A lot of that reason, Jun had to go into the Protector because they wanted to make sure that they had enough frontline pressure to push on in. But what happened is with Glorang getting so chunked, it then forced them right back because Glorang had to heal. And that was an advantage that Fnatic saw. That's the reason why they also went so hard for Glorang with the healer not being inside.
Tempo Storm still wants it though. They still want the keep, and they're poking the entire time with Junkrat as much as they can. But Fnatic can now slowly force them back, and that's what they're doing here. Fan is doing whatever he can, but it's getting more and more difficult. The poke is coming through, and now Fnatic holds on to it. I can't believe that the keep hasn't fallen. This could have theoretically been even a core attempt by Tempo Storm if they get one kill. But Fnatic, with a stellar defense, is doing work here. 9 kills for Tempo Storm, 6 kills for Fnatic, 22 versus 21, and we are heading into another potential fight as Fnatic is starting to follow Tempo Storm.
Fnatic are holding on and doing so well. A lot of that, I feel, is Mene with the explosive arrows. Every time there is a wave that starts to build up, Hanzo can shred through that, and that's the clear coming into play, making it very, very frustrating for Tempo Storm to try and push in. They don't have, like, Fan is their only real range, right?
Yeah, and the thing is that, when talking about Thrall, for example, On the other side of the equation, we have him now with 56,000 damage. He has overtaken Mene in the damage output. The only hero that has pushed out more damage in this game is Junkrat. It's Fan. He's sitting at 84k, but Thrall is really ramping up at this point, overtaking Hanzo and sitting at comfortable 37 stacks.
Look at this play here by Tempo Storm, grouping up now, seeing that keep and wanting to finally secure it once and for all, knowing that Fnatic would respond to clear out that wave.
Yeah, they take the keep at the bot lane. I feel Fnatic just...
No, they haven't yet taken it. What?
Yeah, Junkrat will though, right?
Right? Guys?
There we go.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I feel Fnatic at this point has just given up and saying, okay, the keep is so low, it's gonna fall eventually anyways. Let's fight for the healing pulse at the top instead, or see if we can sneak it. They took their own camp first, but just being forced into the bot lane the entire time, that didn't seem worth it for them. But they give the healing pulse over to Tempo Storm as well. This is bad news for Fnatic. This is really starting to look a lot rougher, but keep in mind, they still hold the fountain in the mid lane. That is still an edge that they have.
Yeah, so at least, although we do see the healing pulse on the side of Tempo Storm, like you said, they still have that sustain in the form of that healing well that they can go and tap into. However, with this next control point, I feel like this next fight is really going to decide the game.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Like, this protector is going to end things, or at least it should. And the question just is, who is getting that first kill? Who is getting that engage? But that fountain could be the changing moment. It's the best position or the best objective that could spawn for Fnatic. Here's still Benny with the play, hasn't used Bunker yet. They've played it safe and slow, and they're trying to poke down Glorang here, but they take a lot of damage from Fan, who can just simply poke away whenever he wants to.
Look at how much poke he's just getting off and how much damage is coming their way. That must be so annoying on the side of Fnatic to be on the receiving end.
Fan sits at 92,000 damage at this point. He has all the time and all the space in the world to use here, and Fnatic is starting to struggle a lot. Tempo Storm has taken the point, and again, this is the one. This protector in the hands of Tempo Storm would end the game, end the series.
This is not a position that they take lightly with Fnatic. They do not want to rush into it. However, in the meantime, the control point is ticking up.
Here
Benny
comes
is
the
so
play
low.
of the game. They're going in from Psalm. Can they get the kill? They're close and Psalm goes down. Malthael is kissing his life goodbye as Fnatic moves in for the kill. Benny is low, trying to heal himself. Cattle is high on his heels. Glorang with the Void Prison in the back, but that's just not enough damage. And Breeze goes for the zoning. Well done so far, 99%. And Tempo Storm with the Hail Mary is starting to move in. Now or never, Sonic with the Earthquake. Sonic going in, the kill against Blaze. Sonic on the run here. He's trying to keep himself alive. He's trying to take Psalm down, who bought himself back with a 20. But here comes the Riptide. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. And this could be game as Tempo Storm is going in, obliterating Fnatic. Mene is about to fall, but here comes Snexy with the heals as his redemptions kicks in. But the Protector has been taken and is on the move. Fnatic is forced into a fight. They don't want to fight. They cannot fight. And Tempo Storm is going to finish this game on the bottom lane.
With style, might I add. I was feeling so worried when Psalm went down, but I feel like it was a little bit of a plan. He had taken No One Can Stop Death, so he baited out a lot of the cooldowns and then came right back into the fight. You could see they were not really wanting to overcommit. As soon as he came back, boom, Tempo Storm were ready to go in again.
Tempo Storm goes in, they take the game and they win the series. They take Fnatic down on the final map, winning it on Volskaya, and advance now to face Dignitas in the winner bracket final.
Look at how happy they are celebrating their hard-earned victory. And I tell you what, Fnatic really made them work for this one.
Yeah, they definitely did, especially after they started banning out Maya, huge part of the drafts here, struggling against exactly that hero and the combos in the previous games. But still a valiant effort, especially considering that they played with a sub player here. But of course, at this point, they have to face the lower bracket and try to fight their way back into the grand final.
It's definitely not the end of Fnatic's story, not by a long shot. I was really hoping for that 5th game, but honestly,